Hello everyone and welcome to today's Daily Splat. This is the 9th video in a series of 20 previewing the English Premier League season 2011-2012, and we're looking at the 20 teams who are taking part in the season. An in-depth look in each video. Apologies for the cough. Today, obviously being the 9th video, means we look at the 9th team alphabetically, which is Manchester City. So, last season, I suppose you could say, was mission accomplished for Manchester City. They not only qualified for the UEFA Champions League by finishing third, but they also won their first trophy in 35 years, winning the FA Cup after they beat Stoke City 1-0 in the final. So, a big double thumbs up for Roberto Mancini from everyone. He certainly did deserve a City board to be expecting. There'll be new goals on them this season. Surely they would be amongst... Well, surely the goals would be challenge for the Premier League title, or win it. And then secondly, qualify from the group stage of the Champions League. If they reach the knockout rounds and maintain or improve on their third position from last year, I'm sure that would be another successful season for City. So, what can we expect from Roberto Mancini's men? Well, let's look at the team first. They certainly have spent quite a lot to get the players that they currently have, although there are a couple of prospects that were already there beforehand who have made their way through. Joe Hart certainly has been very, very good. Last season, his first full season as City's main choice in between the sticks, was excellent. By all accounts, widely regarded as the best goalkeeper in the Premier League last season. Not my own personal choice, but he was certainly very, very good, and will almost certainly continue to be this season. In their defence, you've got the Imperial Vincent Kompany, who was just fantastic. There were also good performances last season from the likes of Micah Richards, who certainly developed to be proficient, and Kolo Touré, although of course he is still suspended because of the failed drugs test, which is yet to be cleared up. They have actually brought in two defenders, not for massive amounts of money though. Gael Clichy's been signed from Arsenal to, I suppose, compete at left-back along with Alexander Kolarov. An interesting battle that'll be, because personally I think Kolarov is better, and I find it interesting that they've brought in Clichy to, I suppose, compete with him. I suppose it's just so they have a big full squad. They've got more games to play this year, so they'll need a third quality left-back, someone who's better than Wayne Bridge, for example. In their midfield, it's a midfield dominated by big, strong players. The likes of Yaya Touré and Nigel de Jong can go in there and just be, well, I was going to say brutish, but that's the wrong word. They can be brutes, but in the correct sense, they are physically imposing. Really, their only creative flair in the midfield was David Silva, who I thought was absolutely outstanding for City last year. And I feel he will continue to be a source of much of their, success. And I think if he is out for any period of time in the season through injury, then it could seriously affect City's hopes, or prospects, whatever they may be. They do have a couple of midfielders who didn't quite perform last season. James Milner certainly wasn't as outstanding as he has been for Aston Villa. Gareth Barry continued to be alright without being spectacular. And Adam Johnson, well, he's just not getting the game time, I suppose. But the few games he played, he looked okay, if a little naive in some scenarios. Up front is the interesting area for City. Now, they have really splashed the cash to bring in the Argentine Sergio Aguero, many seeing him as a replacement for Carlos Tevez, who, at this point, is still a Manchester City player. What will happen to him? Well, nobody knows, quite frankly. He wants to go, but there's no one that can afford to take him, basically, beyond a select few clubs. And all the first clubs don't really seem interested. He's mostly being linked with Inter Milan, but, there's still a month for the transfer window to go at this point, so we'll have to wait and see. But at the moment, it looks as though Tevez might be stuck there. So you could potentially have a forward line of Tevez and Aguero. Now, if Tevez goes, then you'd have a forward line of Aguero and probably Di Giaco, because he came in the January transfer window. Didn't have the best of times to start with, but could well have a very good season. And then, of course, there's the brilliantly unpredictable Mario Balotelli, who is, I must admit, he is one of my favourite players in the Premier League. Not just because he is outrageously talented, but also because he's such a strange, odious man. If he was playing for United, I'd probably be less fond of him, but you never know what's going to happen when he's on the pitch. So 28 appearances for City last season, 10 goals, which is a pretty good return, 11 yellow cards and 2 reds as well, which is less good. So it's always fun when Super Mario Balotelli is involved, that's for sure. So a very, very strong looking team heading into this season. Of course, that might not be it. There may be improvements elsewhere. Samir Nasri has been heavily linked from Arsenal, although that particular rumour seems to have cooled down a bit, and it remains to be seen if anything will happen there. Roberto Mancini has certainly said they'd like to bring in 1 or 2 more signings, but we can only analyse what's in front of us. And with City's current team, certainly they're title challengers. However, I don't think they will win the Premier League title this year. I certainly think they'll qualify for the top 4. In fact, they won't even be 4th, they'll be in the top 3. This could well be the season where they do break through and get into 2nd, but this will be the season where they have a proper title race. When they're competing against the likes of Manchester United and Chelsea, though, who are used to this sort of thing in terms of winning trophies and having that mental fortitude, it's going to be difficult for City to break them down, but they may do it, who knows. My prediction, however, is that they will finish 3rd in the overall standings. It's just where I think they'll finish now. However, that's not a 3rd where they're 9 points off the leaders. I reckon they will be within 5 points of the title. That's my own personal prediction. I think they're going to come close, but not quite make it. However, I do think they will have a good run in the European Cup, and I would expect them to reach the quarter-finals. Even if they do get a very tricky second round draw, they're capable of beating most teams. They are perhaps the most physically imposing team in the Premier League. They've sort of taken the approach that Chelsea had under Jose Mourinho of lots of big, tough players and grinding out the 1-0s. And grinding out the 1-0s will get you trophies. It won't win you many friends, but I don't think City are interested in that. You just have to see the money they've spent. They're not particularly interested in making friends amongst the football community. But there you go. I think that they will finish 3rd, and I think they will have a good season. Okay, that is all for today. Join me tomorrow when we preview Manchester United's season, and, well, it could be very interesting indeed. Okay then, that is all for today. I'll speak to you all tomorrow. Until then, bye-bye.